Right, so in other news, ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa is delivering the closing address at the ANC Lekgotla. Let's listen in.
Progressive force that is reliable, that is capable of uniting and working with the various social formations in our country to advance the national democratic agenda. Over the decade, we've been able to work with workers, women, youth formations, progressive professionals, intellectuals, business people, the middle strata, faith-based organizations, cultural activists, traditional leaders, and various community-based organizations, sporting organizations, cultural organizations, and non-governmental organizations to achieve social and economic change. That has been the makeup of the front that the African National Congress was being able to amass and to build. And this was built organically. It was not done technically like we see happening today. Accordingly, the Lekgotla believes that the ANC remains the party of choice for all who seek to build a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous South Africa. We all agree today that the Alliance will campaign for a clear majority to ensure stability and sustained progress in our country. And the Alliance in all its components. The workers, represented and led by COSATU, community-based organizations, Abahlali, represented and led by SANCO, and the South African Communist Party, representing the working class in our country. And of course, the mighty African National Congress, which has and we will collectively launch a formidable campaign that will engage with the citizens of our country on a wall-to-wall basis, from the east to the west, from the north to the south. Every village, every township will be covered. And in the end, I know of no other organization that has the type of presence that the African National Congress has. And this is the machinery that we are going to unleash to go and campaign for the victory of the African National Congress right throughout the country. Yebo, sizobangena. Now we will do this as we seek a mandate once again from our people to continue advancing the transformation project. And we call on all activists, members and supporters of this revolutionary alliance and the mass democratic movement to go to every farm, village and township, to every town, city and suburb, to account to the people as we seek a renewed democratic mandate to defend and to advance the gains of the 3 decades of freedom. We will never take the support of the people of our country for granted. Each and every one of us must work extremely hard to achieve an overwhelming mandate. The January 8th statement outlined our tasks, and I'd like to repeat them so that they are truly embedded in our hearts and our minds. The first is that we must win a decisive victory in the elections that we are going to hold, whose date will be announced soon. Secondly, reconstructing our economy to create more jobs and growth. Thirdly, to improve basic services and infrastructure. And fourthly, to combat gender-based violence and to build the family. And fifthly, resolving the energy crisis and to end load shedding. And as we talk about the energy crisis, it is also the logistics challenges that we are facing now. To strengthen the fight against corruption and crime, and as you well know, comrades, to make sure that we have a better Africa and a better world. Now, as you know, we discussed many of these areas in great detail in our interventions during the commissions, and I'm not going to repeat even some of the reports that have been tabled here. Later this week, the national government Lekgotla will take place, and it will in the main be guided by the detailed deliberations of what we have been through over the past 2 days. The State of the Nation address, which will also be taking place soon, will in many ways also outline the priorities that were set out in our January 8th statement, as well as the discussions that have ensued here, where we've identified the finer aspects of how those priorities can be implemented. The issues raised here have therefore been fully noted. We will also be able to take the issues forward at government level, and the points made by Comrade Sputla, which he dubbed transversal issues, needs to be noted that indeed within obviously the fiscal budgetary constraints and also the implementation urgency that we need to have, we will in the next period be able to seek to implement much of what has been outlined here. And let me say, we're rather pleased that you all went to so much detail in setting out what needs to be done. Some of the issues, of course, are going to span right across this current administration that's coming to an end and into the next administration. And I'd like to speak more directly to those of us who have been given government responsibilities. This Lekgotla has identified what I would say are the short-term tasks as clearly outlined by the commissions that each one of us must achieve in the coming months. We must work in a focused and disciplined manner to address the pressing challenges that are facing our people and in every community. We therefore expect that those who are deployed in various areas of government will go ahead having heeded what the African National Congress through the NEC has directed us to go and do. I conclude, comrades, by returning to the issue that I addressed when I opened the Lekgotla, the issue of the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, that matter and the impact that this case can have on our domestic situation. The Lekgotla came to a unanimous view that South Africa's unwavering support and solidarity with the people of Palestine is in the end consistent with the ANC-led alliance's long-standing traditions and policy positions. We take this opportunity to thank all South Africans who have come out in their tens of thousands, in fact in their hundreds of thousands, to support the just cause of the Palestinian people. We also pay tribute and commend the legal team and those who worked very hard behind scenes to make sure that our government's case is well represented. And we have thanked our two ministers who played a key role, Minister Pando and Minister Lamola. We thank them once again together with the legal team. I have personally phoned all the lawyers who represented us, including those based in the UK, to thank them for the work that they have done. And we all agree that they really presented a formidable case. And in many cases, they said this was a case for them in a lifetime, and that is true. As we reflect on this matter, we must be mindful that our success has exposed not only the atrocities that have been carried out or being carried out by the State of Israel. It also has exposed the moral bankruptcy of those countries who, by their acts of omission or commission, are allowing genocide to take place in Gaza on their watch. And we say this humbly, without pointing fingers. We are also conscious of the fact that there will be systematic fight-back campaigns as well. And I say this so that we are aware of it. There can be little doubt that these forces will do all in their power to prevent South Africa from firstly concluding its case on the merits of the matter in the ICJ. Speaking to the lawyers, I found them quite ready, willing, and prepared to take this case forward to its final conclusion. The fight back may also focus on our domestic politics and our electoral outcomes in order to pursue a regime change agenda. Now, some people have said this was a David and Goliath type of contest. So we must be aware that whilst we have done what we believe was driven by our conscience and our principles, and whilst we also went and did the right thing and take this matter to the courts that were set up by those who were there in 1948 or so as they set up that court, we are being blamed for taking the matter to the very court that they set up. We didn't take this case to a kangaroo court. We went to the very court that they themselves set up in terms of the rules that they set up, and we should not be blamed for doing so. So in the end, comrades, we need to be absolutely vigilant and resolute. And so we must end by saying the path ahead will not be an easy one. But we should never doubt the capacity of the ANC-led alliance to unite our members and supporters together and all patriots in our country in order to advance the gains not only of our freedom, but the gains of the freedom of others as well in other countries. Now, following our lodging of the case, we are now being asked if we are willing to participate in whatever form of discussions that could end this conflict. And we've said yes. As South Africa, we are always ready to do so. We do this because we are driven by a principle that our forebears taught us, that conflicts are always best resolved through dialogue, through negotiations for a peaceful end, as our own conflict was driven by that. And so we stand on the history that we were taught by our forebears. So comrades, as we end and as we are aware of some of the risks and the dangers that lie in store, we should also be aware of the opportunities that are also there, where South Africa will again and again continue playing the role it has always played. We have Comrade Thabo Mbeki amongst us, who has, throughout his presidency, even beyond that, has continued to play the role of resolving conflicts on our continent and elsewhere in the world. So, it is precisely that, following in the footsteps of Nelson Mandela, that we will say to the world, we have done what we needed to do, driven by the principles that we uphold, but we are ready, willing, and prepared to participate in any process that will lead to a peaceful resolution of the conflict between Israel and Palestine. And that we are ready to do today, get on a plane and go and play that role. So comrades, I think as we conclude our Lekgotla, let us conclude it knowing that we've had wonderful discussions, very positive discussions, very enlightening as well in a number of ways. Discussions that are going to enrich what we do as a government at all three levels, at national level, provincial level, and at local level. So we rise from this Lekgotla rejuvenated, renewed, and re-energized to go and say, Maihlome, because we are going to Mandla, Mandla.
Right, so those are closing remarks from President Cyril Ramaphosa at the ANC's Lekgotla underway in Boksburg, Gauteng. Of course, just following some of the sentiments emerging, touching on issues of the party itself remaining united and also clear on the orders. This, of course, given the challenges and the gaps that have existed 30 years into its ruling. All of these also coming ahead of SON and, of course, a budget. So during the election year, so they're looking at improving basic services and infrastructure, building the family unit, eradicating GBV, solving the energy crisis and load shedding, but also promoting job creation, economic growth, also strengthening the fight against corruption and crime at large. Again, they're also touching on the ICJ case, South Africa's approach, commending all those involved as well. So we're obviously monitoring developments from here and too, but we'll leave it there for now.